Hi, good evening, everyone. That was fascinating to hear Mr. Anjum Parvez. I think there's a lot that we need to look out for Bangalore, with all the growth poised for the city. No doubt this is the largest office market in the country, and I truly believe with the entire growth the metro will bring in, there will be a lot of growth continuing for our city. Is it okay? Yeah, thank you. Great. We'll just, I guess we don't have to wait. Okay, we'll just kick off. I want to thank CREDTECH for putting together this evening for all of us. The Knowledge Federation. I truly believe that bringing all of us together on a platform like this really is fantastic, where we can exchange ideas, collaborate, communicate better, and really give back to the industry. So I want to thank CREDTECH for that. I'm not going to get into specific topics, but one of the discussions was, what did the union budget do for us? And how did it impact CRE in a way for the real estate services business, right? Obviously, we got to thank the Government of India and our Honorable Finance Minister. And truly, what really has come out of that budget is the larger vision for the growth of India, right? The government really touched upon many things, purely on stress on infrastructure. That was a big spend, and you heard Mr. Anjum Parvez. The future vision of Atma Bharat, which is very interesting. A lot of you may not like the word, but when you say Atma Bharat. But I think ease of doing business, right? India is still ranked very low. And from our perspective, how do you make sure ease of doing business really enhances that experience when corporates look at India? Skilling of talent, which is such an important aspect from an India context. There's so much to be done from an India perspective. And that will really help us in creating employment. Obviously, there were multiple schemes announced by the government. Green goal initiatives, hospitality and tourism, education and skilling, startup, manufacturing, and finally India, I think, after 10 years has woken up saying, man, we're missing out on the manufacturing sector. We really need to grow this. And just that infrastructure outlay and how that changes from a China plus one strategy. And if you look at all the larger corporations who really looked at China as a manufacturing hub, are giving a serious look to India. Upliftment of our taxation, that's the whole thing in infrastructure. From a real estate perspective, while some of us might be disappointed saying really nothing was really given to our industry as such, but I think infrastructure will play a big role. 10,000 crores is big money to create this urban infrastructure development fund to develop tier 2, tier 3 cities. That's big money to grow. And obviously with distributed workforce and what we saw in India in the last 3 years, the growth in the tier 2, tier 3 cities, we've been talking for 2 decades on tier 2, tier 3. But really that growth now, we've seen that really happen now in the tier 2, tier 3 cities. Of course, cost of real estate has dramatically gone up. I was chatting with one of my colleagues saying, what's the cost of land in Indore? I was actually shocked with that number for the cost of land. So obviously cost of land has gone up, but obviously the infrastructure is a very important thing. The Indian railway network, the money that's laid out for that growth and how that overlays in the growth of India. And that's big money, 2.4 lakh crores given out for that network to dramatically change. Obviously, as Mr. Parvez mentioned, that the state government and the center government is so supportive in terms of growth. A 50-year interest-free loan to the states, and they've extended for another year. The states have been getting it, and they've extended that again for 23. Obviously, enhancing of airports, reviving of 50 new airports, heliports, water aerodromes are some of the things to improve connectivity across India. The green economy, while India still is dependent on fossil fuel, just the government looking at 35,000 crores on changing that from a policy perspective, that's big money being invested to really change our dependency on fossil fuel and look at alternative fuels. Of course, the manufacturing sector will see a lot of benefit with the China +1 strategy. The other important thing is skilling. And obviously for a growth on the manufacturing side, while the tech sector is predominantly where we've seen all the growth, the manufacturing sector is really important from a growth perspective of the country. So skilling on that line and the schemes that the government really organized truly will see some benefit on India's growth apart from the services sector as a manufacturing sector. So overall, in all, I would say it's a good forward-moving budget from an infrastructure development and the overall economy for India. So did our sector really get direct benefits? Not really, but in reality, we will see all those indirect benefits coming to us. Talking of the commercial real estate sector, obviously we saw a good comeback. 2019, as everyone knows, was a good year, a fantastic year. That was the historic high where the office market saw a gross absorption of over 65 million. 57 million square feet of gross absorption in 22, Jan to December, was a good comeback from an India perspective. And of course, we are living in Bangalore and we're talking about Bangalore. Bangalore again saw the highest absorption, crossed the historic high of 16 to 17.5 million square feet. Obviously, the industry has seen some challenge. For a lot of corporate occupiers, the biggest challenge has been return to office. While the front office businesses really saw a big comeback, everyone said, let's wait for Christmas. In some cases, some people said, let's wait for Thanksgiving to get over, people will come back, let's wait for New Year's. I think what's happening with the global economy and what's happening in America, and with the largest presence of American corporates over here, which is 80%, and the FOMO that's created with job losses there, you've started to see employees coming back in big numbers and good numbers. January is a big improvement in return to office numbers. While a lot of global corporates want to follow a global strategy of return to office, some of them have announced 3 days a week, 4 days a week. In a lot of cases, we've seen those numbers go down. In tech parks in our city, and when I compare it to other cities, the numbers have been going up month on month. Jan is a great benchmark that everyone will celebrate Christmas and come back, and we see those numbers go back. Obviously, there are concerns on what will happen to India from a job market perspective. Obviously, the pressures are there for organizations to reduce costs, and the cost pressures will continue to remain. A lot of travel budgets have been cut for a lot of organizations, a lot of cost on what are they doing in terms of spending. But of course, the corporates have saved money. With employees not being in the office, the corporate occupiers really have saved money. The balance sheets have gone up, so that looks great on book. But in reality, are you being productive? Are your employees being able to deliver? Yes, the first year probably went well. The productivity levels dropped. We saw enough moonlighting happening on the tech sector, and probably that will continue. But I think the real push is to get people back to collaborate, to really drive value for the organization. From an occupier perspective, obviously the return to office still remains for a lot of tech-led companies on return to office, but the banking financial sector is something that we've seen really come back. The engineering manufacturing sector is really seen where we've seen some big comebacks. And I actually was talking to a couple of clients. We actually ran a survey recently, and the feedback was very interesting. One of the clients said, I don't have space for my people. Obviously, in the last 2.5, 3 years, a lot of the companies have actually hired more people than the space. They haven't enhanced their space, but they've actually hired more number of people. So obviously, that is a good sign and a positive sign. Employee wellness continues to remain the center stage for a lot of occupiers. Utilization of technology is very, very keen. A lot of companies dramatically enhance the way they use technology to communicate to their employees. There's only so much you can do on a Zoom screen or a Teams screen. There's so much of communication, collaboration. So return to office is going to be a focus for a lot of corporates and will continue. And I truly believe with what's happening in the US and in Europe, we did see there are about 1,800 GCCs already in India. I cannot tell you this. Literally every week, I get a call of not more than minimum 2 or 3 companies looking at coming new to India, which is very, very interesting. Whether it's European clients, whether it's American corporates, we're seeing that move really push back. Obviously, cost is a big pressure. Trust me, all those jobs are going to come here. I am so confident that the jobs will come here. And the feedback is, of course, we have the talent base in India, but the reality is We got to remain focused. Our tech employees have to remain focused. Obviously, costs have gone up in the last couple of years. Salary costs have gone up. But for organizations, I think the key is, and we don't have any HR leaders here, but trust me, the pain they go through. I was talking to another HR leader where he says, they interviewed a set of their people, and the young kid told them, he gave him 17 reasons why he shouldn't come into office. Which is strange. He had to get up in the morning. Of course, you have to get up in the morning. He said, I have to shave. I have to figure out what I have to wear. I have to brush. I mean, silly reasons. But obviously, these kids have really enjoyed the last 2-3 years of not being in the office environment. Convenient, in your pajamas, wear a shirt and just jump on a call. Obviously, the revolution on ESG and the sustainability goals that each organization's laid out, whether it's 2030, 2040, 2050. We have a long way in India. We can do so much from our perspective. The government will do, and I'm sure Mr. Krishnappa is going to touch upon energy, which is a big thing. There's a lot we can do on waste management, etc., on energy. But how do we partner with developers, with the government to make sure all that green initiative happens? I truly believe that India will continue to grow. And I'm really proud that our industry, the entire ecosystem, will grow in the next few years. You'll see that happening. No doubt we might have some temporary blips of freeze on hiring, etc., with all what's happening. Investment on new capital, when you look at fit out, obviously construction costs has gone up. We've seen the challenges on supply chain, on delivery, on fitting out your offices. The flex ecosystem's grown overall to be able to cater to the immediate demand from a corporate occupier perspective. But I truly believe what's coming our way, let's get ready for it. We obviously need to partner with state governments to understand our infrastructure. Bangalore did lose out in the past, but the numbers talk for itself. With 17.5 million square feet of gross absorption, still the highest in the country. Hyderabad did see some blips last year. Mumbai saw some pickups. Chennai, which was low in the last few years, saw some good comeback. Pune is another market that really saw some growth. The NCR market of Gurgaon, Noida. And we saw tier 2 cities, indoor. We saw the Kerala market, Trivandrum and Kochi really pick up because of the talent base. We saw markets like Bhubaneswar pick up, indoor pick up, Jaipur pick up, etc. So I think we're in good space, Team India. I would say we're all Team India, right? We're not just Bangalore. Because we have to really sell our country. And that's how the global corporates look at us. So I truly believe we're in for growth. I think we all need to just communicate better to the world on India. We need to sell India at times and do a good job of it. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Ram. Could you please